So I've set up an exercise that we can use to teach the dog their steering left and right. Placeboard is the start line. 1, tunnel is 2, gold is 3, and they finish number 4 is pink. When you see jumps arranged on 4 points, we call that foundational skill fan work, or it can sometimes be referred to as a pinwheel. It's a really common feature of beginners courses and a nice way for me to teach my dog their lefts and rights. So the foundational skill behind that is, firstly, the dog's got to start to understand that if jumps are on an angle, where they take off, where they land, which is going to be different than we started with their straight line focus. Secondly, I always handle with my arm closest to the dog. So with this course being clockwise as an example, that's going to be my left hand. Now the dog's got to learn that if my arm is out, they should stay out. Because in agility, jumps can be anywhere between 5 metres, like this setup, or 10 metres. Blue to gold would be an example of that. And given I'm never going to be able to be as quick as my dog, building in that independence early is going to be a really useful foundation. Secondly, the dog learns that as I turn, they turn. It's going to be called a pivot, and it's a way of steering my dog around the course. So when you look at a big course like this and we think about those foundational skills, arm out, they stay out, and as I turn, they turn, I can take that core principle home into a smaller sequence to teach them the basic skills before I apply it to a sequence like this. What I'm going to do is take the jump wings, but you can use anything that you've got as an obstacle. So it could be stick in the ground poles, it could be a bin, it could be a garden chair. If I was using stick in the ground poles, I would angle them in towards myself because it's going to be easier for my dog to be on the outside where I want them to be than ducking in on the inside. And that's a really common problem that I see early on in a dog's training, because when we think all the good stuff's happened here up until now, actually building in that distance is one of the first tests in agility. So I've got 3 obstacles on 3 points, and that's going to mirror the sequence that we're aiming for. In agility, I handle my dog with the arm closest to them. So for me, with that clockwise course, it's going to be my left hand. And if I show you the difference, from a distance, a dog can see this really clearly, where if I was to handle across my body, notice that my silhouette is much less clear. I'm going to be in the middle and the dog is going to be on the outside. Think of it like a satellite. If I'm in the centre, they're orbiting around the outside. When I look at this circle as a whole, I'm going to break it down into parts. So think of it like a game. If they get step 1, I can add in an extra bit of criteria, but keeping the dog motivated so that they want to play. It creates a pattern that is predictable, and then as I raise the challenge level, they're likely to remember the success they've had in the early stages and be able to apply that learning as it gets more difficult. So step 1, I'm going to hold food or toy in my hand closest to the dog. Guide them around the circle in a lure. As I reach a third, I say good and give them the reward. If they can do a third, you go up to 2/3. If they can do 2/3, the ultimate goal is you can trace a full circle with the reward happening at the end. I've got 3 biscuits in my hand. The first piece is going to be held between my finger and my thumb with my spares behind my back. Food to nose. Good boy, guide him round. Good. Super. If you use a toy instead of a bit of food, you're going to hold it coiled up in your hand, trace the line, and as they reach your goal, you're going to unfurl it and let them play with it. So let's see how that looks. Guide you round. Good. Super. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. With each success, you can add that little bit of distance. So you're going to aim for 2/3. So again, toy in hand, furled up, go for 2. Good, super, good boy, good boy, good boy. So 2/3 becomes a whole turn. Good, yeah, clever boy. What I want to do when I'm using a lure is really quickly fade it out. So I like it as a way of showing the dog what the game is. But to fade the lure, I'm going to move my hand in the same way. I'm going to hold the toy or food behind my back and give it to them after they complete their repetition. Now, because I'm making it harder in one sense, taking that lure out of my hand, I'm going to make it easier in another sense by going back to a third of a term. The reason it's really important to fade the lure early is if the dog relies on you for the handling, it's going to be difficult to ultimately add the distance we need to navigate a larger circle. I'm in the middle. The toy is behind my back, so he still knows it's in play. Good, super, good boy, good boy, good boy. So again, a third becomes 2/3. Darwin. Good, yeah, good boy. So this one's going to be a full circle. Nearly. Yes, super, good boy. So at this point, okay, I'm confident to add my cue. So when my arm is out and he's turning clockwise, for him he's turning on his right shoulder. So as I add in a cue, I say right, and when you're at home, you'll be training equally on clockwise and anti-clockwise turns. So just be consistent with the words that you use. Right, 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 right. Good boys. So when your dog can do a full circle for one reward, the next step is going to be adding in some distance. So right now, I'm about arm width apart. And every success your dog has, you can just move those obstacles out a little bit so that they're moving further and further without you. Okay, right, right, right. Good boys. Now, if you've only got obstacles at home, that's where you could leave it. If you've got poles like I do, you can add them in incrementally to add a little bit of a distraction level. Right, 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 right. Good boy. So in practice, I'd want to continue to add distance until my circle replicates the one on the course. But to finish a session and give you an idea of what we're aiming for, I'm going to move those jump wings back and show you how it looks as a sequence. Right now, I'll probably have to be a little bit closer to the jumps than I'd like to be as a finished product, but it'll give you an idea of what we're aiming for. Okay, tunnel. Yeah. Good boy. Good boy.